Hey, what's up guys? Emo Cat Dad here, hanging out with you, bringing you yet another edition of Emo Cat Dad Listens. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. What I do is every day of 2024, I vow to check out a new band or artist. Check out 4 songs from across their discography, give you my initial thoughts on the songs, rank the songs, and then of course give you my overall thoughts on the artist from what I've just heard. Obviously, as you can see right there, today's artist is the Devil Wears Prada. Now, full disclosure, this one was one that I was going to do very early on in the series, like probably single digits. But you guys have been so kind, giving me tons of suggestions of bands or artists to check out. It kind of got buried till someone finally suggested it within the last couple of weeks. So I figured, hey, I should probably get around to it. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I brought the suggestion upon myself because I mentioned this band in a specific video before, saying, I hadn't checked them out. Let me know if you want me to. So you guys wanted me to, so here I am. So obviously I mentioned them in a video, so I'm aware of them. So what's my history with the Devil Wears Prada? I have said numerous times that after Fall Out Boys, the Panic at the Discos, the Paramours got big, it was very clear that the scene was moving in a much heavier direction. What is now known as Risecore, which really was probably the late 2000s, early 2010 era. I had my ear to the ground, so I knew this was coming before, because I'm the Emo Cat Dad. I'm big into scene music, so I gotta follow along. So I checked out some releases from a couple bands. One of them was the Devil Wears Prada, whose debut album I think came out in 2005 or 2006, something like that. So I had heard 2 songs, HTML Rules Dude and Hey John, What's Your Name, I think it was called. Didn't dig any of them, didn't really dig any of that genre, so I basically ignored everything from that era. I just kept listening to the same old pop punk until the sad boy stuff started coming out in the early 2010s, and then I just gravitated towards that and skipped all the Risecore that basically came my way. But I've heard the Devil Wears Prada stuff has evolved tremendously. In fact, I think a lot of their fans actually hated some of their mid-2010s albums. I can't remember the names off the top of my head. Transient Blues or something like that was one of them. So I figured I should give this band another chance. So they have a vast discography. So basically what I focused on was the more recent stuff. I did go back to an older track to see if maybe my tastes have evolved. If I was just like, this doesn't sound like pop punk, I'd rather be listening to New Found Glory, Simple Plan, the aforementioned Fall Out Boy, Paramore, Panic at the Disco. I started with, ultimately, I think what is now considered their big breakthrough album, With Roots Above and Branches Below. I checked out Des Moines, which I'm assuming is a play on Des Moines, Iowa. Alright, so I'm not going to say I was completely wrong about this band, because I really didn't like that Risecore vocal style. I think that was the main hang up for me. And this song does have some of that, some of those unclean vocals that I just do not like. But there's a lot I do like here still. The music is much better than I remember it. I was into quote-unquote screamo in the early 2000s. I was actually wearing a Hawthorne Heights sweater today. I took it off. So the screaming wasn't an issue. It was more so the vocal delivery and the music, I thought. But really, I dig this musically. The melody was there in parts, and I enjoyed it. But basically, anytime unclean vocals are on, it's like there's no melody whatsoever. I don't really recall, because I ditched the Risecore sound very quickly. So you guys can let me know in the comments if that was a trademark or if that was just a choice that was done. But it took me out of the song anytime that happened, and I needed to wait for that melody to come back to be reinvested. Alright, so to my surprise, the Devil Wears Prada's most popular song is actually off of 2010's album. 2017's The Act features the song Chemical. Alright, so I'm surprised at the lack of uncleans first off. This is very accessible. Maybe even bordering on too accessible. But the lyrics are really strong here. This is like listening to these 2 songs back to back is kind of like a complete 180. It doesn't feel like it's the same band. Granted, there was, basically almost a decade in between these two songs, but still. So The Devil Wears Prada released an album a couple years ago, 2022, I want to say at this point, called Color Decay. It was a huge hit for them and really considered a return to form after the Zombie 2 EP because, like I said, a lot of their fans didn't like those middling 2010 albums. So the most streamed song off this is Salt, so I'm going to dive into that. Okay, so the music grabbed me right away on this, so I don't know if Chemical was an outlier or if that's just what their records at that time sounded like, but this is back to the heavy stuff. But it did still have a nice mix in there. The switch up in the chorus was superb. What a transition. Honestly, no notes. We get a musical slowdown into the bridge, which I really dug that, but I was expecting kind of like a bigger vocal soar as a crescendo coming out of it, and we didn't really get that. So I'm left a little bit disappointed, I guess, but still really enjoyed the part overall. And finally, why I'm doing The Devil Wears Prada today. They released a brand new song called Ritual today, so I checked that out. Oh my god. This is like the best Devil Wears Prada song I've heard. This is incredible. There's more bounce in the music than I expected. None of these songs had really any bounce to it. There were some that was accessible in parts, others that were completely accessible, like I mentioned, but it didn't have me bouncing like this one did. And I talked about transition on the last one. There was a superb times a million transition in this track. It's got like a grittier singing in the pre-chorus, and then it leads into the chorus, which has just straight up clean singing. And there's like a one-line vocal overlap where they both sing and it transitions. So good. Oh my god. Mind blown. We even get a breakdown in the song. Really dug the breakdown. And there's even a pick it up, pick it up, pick it up part during the breakdown before it goes back into, I think it was the chorus again. I really love when you get like cool mosh calls leading into the breakdown, as well as some cool hardcore style vocals over top. And that's basically what that pick it up is. I imagine this going nuts live. Oh my god, so jealous of anyone that gets to see The Devil Wears Prada in the next little bit. The energy that part is going to bring to the live show is going to be unmatched. Alright, so this has gone on a little bit too long, so let's quickly, and by quickly I mean quickly, rank these songs. At number 1, it's Ritual. I've only heard 6 Devil Wears Prada songs, but I would take this one over all 5 of the other ones combined. At 2, I'll go Salt. It's still a really good song. It was clear that this was kind of the direction that they needed to go in, melding the heavier stuff from their early days to the more accessible stuff from the 2015s their fans didn't like to grow their audience. And honestly, it worked out really good here, but Ritual clears it pretty easily. At 3, I'll go Chemical. Not a bad song at all. Definitely not what I was expecting, and I do generally like being surprised, but as with most ballads, there needs to be something of a item X in there that gets me excited for it, and this unfortunately was just pretty cut and dry, but I still enjoyed my listening experience. And at 4, Des Moines. I said that I didn't like early Devil Wears Prada in much of these videos, and with me ranking this at 4, I'm sure you would just assume that's still the case. I think I've softened my stance a little bit thanks to this song, and maybe I should go back and check out those other 2 songs to see if maybe they're better than I remember. But ultimately, it doesn't hold a candle to the other stuff. I still don't like that Rise core vocal sound that they play with. It's not on here 100% of the time, but it's enough that I couldn't justify putting Chemical below it. Alright, overall thoughts on Devil Wears Prada is, I think I've said enough in this video. The new stuff is so good. I expect this band to just keep rising to the occasion. I think they found their sound and what works, and everyone seems to enjoy it, from their heavy early fans to the rock fans they made in the 2010s to the new Emo Cat Dad fans they made today. Really stoked to see where they go from here. Okay guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm your friendly neighborhood Emo Cat Dad, and I want to know your thoughts on the Devil Wears Prada, so please go to the comments below. Let me know if you've checked the band out, what your thoughts are on them, whether you like them or not, whether there's other songs that you think I will dig. Let me know those ones as well. And of course, give me some suggestions. I'm doing this every day of 2024, so I need bands or artists to check out. But most importantly, I hope you come along for the ride. And the easiest way to do that is if you just cut my wrists and hit subscribe. Emo Cat Dad out. Until next time, I want to hear you sad.